You're not responsible for healing the damage that your parent has caused in a relationship with them. And one of the reasons why many of you all cannot heal is because you're still stuck in that place of grief. And I know that this is about to ruffle a couple of feathers, and I know a lot of y'all like to tussle, but baby, you're going to be tussling with yourself in the comment section, because I'm not going back and forth. Grief is not just physical loss. Sometimes when we have a relationship with our parents, the parents who didn't provide the nurturance, who didn't provide the protection, who didn't provide the security, a sense of belonging that was necessary for a child in their upbringing, the child, when they go into their adult years, as they grow into their adult years, they carry the loss of not having those things. You as a parent were supposed to grant your child security and protection, and the pain of that betrayal, of not having that security or that protection from the person who brought you into this world, the sorrow of not having the love or that sense of belonging and longing for that, longing for something that you should have had or something that is probably never going to be. Let's think about the children who have had to see other children be loved correctly, and then they're in a situation where they're not being loved correctly. That is grief in itself. Out of all of my study, out of all of my clients and working with people through healing and finding security within themselves, I can't tell you how many stories I have heard from adults of their childhood, of their upbringing, where they had to constantly be the emotional support. They had to constantly be the emotional labor. They were parentified. They were spouseified. They constantly had to help parents through their addictions. They constantly had to protect parents. They had to constantly walk on eggshell. Don't even get me started on the eggshell household and eggshell parenting. But they constantly had to walk on eggshells because they never knew when their parents were going to be dysregulated. They never knew what type of moods their parents were going to have. So they constantly had to be in a house that was supposed to be a home, that was supposed to grant you, that was supposed to be your solace, your protection, and it wasn't. I can't tell you how many stories I have heard of people talking about the abuse that they have endured, whether it was physical, sexual, emotional, psychological, and it upsets me. And yes, I am emotional today because I'm passionate about this. So my emotions are here. Probably need to do some breath work in a little bit because I'm very passionate about this. So I'm talking to the little girl or the little boy that's inside of you, that is broken, that is wounded, that is screaming for somebody to reparent them. I'm talking to you right now, honey. You are not responsible for the damage and the pain that was inflicted on you by your parents. You no longer have to sit in the guilt of that. You no longer have to sit in the blame of that because it's not on you, honey. You were a child. You were innocent. You were blameless. It is not your fault. You didn't cause it. It's not something that you did. It's not something that you said that caused that pain on you when a parent inflicted it on you. That is on them. It is not your fault. Stop taking fault. Stop trying to figure it out. Don't believe the lies that were told to you. Stop telling yourself lies to make up and to make sense of what has happened to you. Is not your fault. You were never supposed to be your parents' parent. You were never supposed to be used to heal your parents' wounds. And don't get me wrong, bringing a child into this world, it naturally and inadvertently heals your wounds from time to time. But it was not your responsibility to take on that role of a healer, of a confidant, of a teacher, of a parent as a child. That was not your role. So if your heart does not desire to fix it, you don't have to. You don't have to, especially if you see that your parent is not even trying to fix the damage that they have done. That's their responsibility. Their role was to protect you and love you. And if they didn't grant you that, they're the blame, not you. Okay? And don't you take all full responsibility for fixing that problem. This is me talking to you all who have gone through this and you're still stuck in that place of grief because you're trying to understand why my life was never the life that I wished for. Why didn't my parents love me right? Why didn't they protect me? Why didn't they shelter me? Why didn't they love me? Why didn't they give me a sense of belonging? Why did they make me feel like a human? This is me talking to you all because I understand why you're so angry. I understand why you're upset. I understand why you're hurt. I understand why you're depressed. I understand why you're stuck in this state of confusion. I understand it because you're still stuck in that place of grief. And you're going to have to work through those stages of grief to understand why you're grieving, because it's probably that little child in you that's still grieving. Happy healing, babies. Bye, honeys.